Hi, this is Keith Ward with Visual Studio Magazine, and joining me right now is today's keynote speaker, Microsoft's Scott Guthrie. Scott, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you just gave a presentation to this group of developers on Windows Azure. So if you can give me a large sort of high-level overview of why developers specifically should be interested in Azure and what it can do for them.
Yeah, one of the things I try to show in the keynote is, so for people who don't know, Windows Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform, and you can use it to both run applications in the cloud. But one of the things I focused a lot on this morning is showing how, as a developer, you can also use the cloud for dev test purposes, and deploy the application either in the cloud or in your on-premises environment. And so I spent a lot of time this morning really just showcasing how you can create virtual machines, how you can do virtual private networks so that you can have your developers securely connect and integrate within their existing environment, how you as a developer can basically stand up all the infrastructure you need, use it within Visual Studio to build your applications, and never frankly be beholden to your IT department again. So if you need a new virtual machine, you can get one in minutes. You can put anything you want on it. You can create images. You can move them around. And what's great is if you're an MSDN customer, you can do all that for free. So every MSDN customer gets up to $150 a month in free Azure resources, and that's enough to run multiple virtual machines 24/7 at no cost to you, all inside Azure.
Not only no cost, it seems, but it's not just free, but you actually get credit, is what you mentioned, and that always seems to get a big reaction from developers.
Yeah, I mean it's nice in the sense of it doesn't require a credit card. It doesn't cost anything. And then we have a competition going on right now where if you actually use it, you can actually win a nice Aston Martin car as part of it. So it's kind of a great offer. It's one that a lot of developers still don't know about. And part of the reason I kind of talked about it this morning in the keynote is to make sure we just kind of raise the visibility. Because I think a lot of people are looking at the cloud still thinking, I'm going to do that in the future. I'm not ready to build apps for it yet. But if you're already building apps using Windows Server, SQL, .NET, Visual Studio that you deploy on premises, the cloud is great for you today for dev test. Mm-hmm. And so we're just trying to encourage people, give it a try, and I think you'll find, boy, it can save you a ton of time and really make your lives a lot more productive.
You also had mentioned some of the benefits that MSDN's subscribers get as opposed to just a general dev. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, for every MSDN, so you can use dev test in the cloud for any developer, mm-hmm. But if you're an MSDN customer, you get, if you're an MSDN professional, you get $50 a month, premium $100 a month, ultimate $150 a month of free Azure credits. And what that means basically is you can spin up virtual machines, databases, Hadoop clusters, media encoding jobs at no cost. You can draw down those $150 credits, and so you can use them to run 3 virtual machines basically 24/7 at no cost. You could use them for websites, databases, what have you. And as long as you stay below that $150 credit, it's zero cost to you every month as an MSDN customer. If you want to, you can go above it and actually spend more. But if you're an MSDN customer, generally what we find is those credits are good enough to do, for 90% of developers, that's all they need every month, in which case they don't pay anything.
Okay. Now, one of the questions that I'm sure you hear a lot, I hear it a lot too, is security issues. Mm-hmm. You're giving up some amount of control. When you put something on the cloud, what do you tell those developers?
Well, one of the things I kind of showed in the keynote is how to use things like virtual private networking so that the machines you create, say for a dev test environment, are not accessible to the public. They don't even have an IP address that's available or pingable from outside our data centers. And with the virtual private network, you can now securely connect to those machines, mm-hmm. All encrypted, all running over secure channels across the internet. So you don't have to worry about someone touching your machine, hitting the machine remotely, and you can basically use that completely securely for dev test.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of options are available to developers in terms of using databases with Azure? Are they limited at all to what they can use?
No, you can basically use any data store you want with Azure. We support SQL Server as is. We recently did a partnership with Oracle where we're going to enable Oracle databases to be run inside Windows Azure as well. and we have MySQL, we've got MongoDB, we've got CouchDB, Riak, basically a whole bunch of different data options that you can use, Postgres and others. And so you're basically not limited to any type of data source you want now. You can use basically anything. And out of the box then, or as a service, we then provide, as Microsoft, a SQL database service option that you can go ahead and create, where we'll basically manage the database for you. But using our infrastructure as a service and virtual machine capability, you can run any database you want.
How much storage do you get with the SQL database that comes initially if you want to use that option?
We provide a free SQL database to every Azure customer that they can use forever. That's 20 megabytes, which is not enough, but for simple dev test purposes is often enough. And then you only pay for what you use, and so if you want like a 1 gigabyte database per month, I think it's under $10 a month. Okay. No transaction fee. That's just it. If you're an MSDN customer, again, you could spin up a 150 gigabyte database, I think, at no cost.
Right.
So it's a pretty cost-effective way to store data.
So let's talk next about the cross-platform capabilities of Azure. You don't require that they're developing on a Microsoft platform, do you?
No, you can basically use Linux VMs. You can use Oracle. You could use Java if you wanted to. You could use PHP. You could use Ruby, Python. We have SDKs for all of those languages. You don't even have to run Windows client. You could basically be developing on a Mac or a Linux machine. All of our admin tools, all our command line scripting works completely cross-platform, and we work with any tool. So, we certainly don't want anyone to leave thinking, oh, we want you to necessarily be building Linux apps on a Mac with us. But if you are someone who develops on a Mac and deploys Linux, we'd sure like to have you running in our cloud, and we think we make that really easy. And then we have first-class support within Visual Studio, within SQL, within Windows, within .NET, and so we think the best option is that way. But absolutely, you can use any existing stack or any client or server OS that you want to, and have a great experience.